We have four stories to cover today. As Tesla gears up to reveal its Robotaxi plans, we're now hearing more and more moves by competitors. It seems self-driving tech company Waymo is partnering with Hyundai to produce self-driving taxis. Second, GM announced their electric vehicle owners can now purchase an adapter to access Tesla's superchargers. This is the first time an automaker is selling at $225 each instead of giving it for free like Ford and others have done. Third, Chinese automaker NIO is considering buying Audi's factory in Belgium. With the EU slapping tariffs on Chinese imported cars, we're now seeing more and more Chinese automakers setting up shop in Europe. And finally, it looks like everyone and their grandmother are getting into the EV game. This time, it's Japan's electronics giant Sharp that is following Sony, moving from televisions to electric vehicles. Joining me today is Larry Goldberg. Larry's a serial entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thanks, Herbert. Great to be here with you.
So let's get started with this first one. Tell me what's going on. Why is Waymo partnering with Hyundai? Of course, Waymo is a robotaxi. You can hail their robotaxis now in, I think, 7 cities in the United States. They outfit Jaguars here. Looks like there's various kinds of cars that they'll just take and they'll put in their LiDARs, radars, all these sensors. Now we're hearing that Waymo's in talks with Hyundai to produce self-driving taxis. Looks like it came from South Korean newspaper that's reporting this, that officials of Waymo and Hyundai have met 3 times to discuss a plan to use the Hyundai's Ioniq 5 electric vehicles for Waymo's 6th generation technology. And they're going to replace China's Zeekr with the Ioniq 5 models. What's going on, Larry?
Well, I mean, you only have to look at the politics of this. You know, it's kind of strange. I found it strange at the time that Waymo decided that in their supply chain, they wanted to add a Chinese supplier. Obviously, Chinese suppliers are obviously competitive from a pricing point of view, but really it instantiates a significant political risk. So this makes a lot of sense. Not only does it mitigate the political risk to deal with a Korean supplier, but it also mitigates the potential duties that will come with buying from China. So the strange thing about the NIO deal was NIO is such a small supplier, such a small manufacturer. I mean, they are on probably the 10th, or they're somewhere below the 10th, the 10th largest supplier in Japan of electric vehicles, and maybe they're close to the 20th. So Hyundai makes a lot of sense because, firstly, their electric cars have been very successful globally, including in the US. Secondly, they're a US manufacturer. And so thirdly, they eliminate the political problems around buying the Chinese car. So it makes a whole lot of sense because the previous decision did not.
Okay, let's go read a little bit more into what's going on here. Looks like that Hyundai had a self-driving technology unit called Motional. Earlier this year, they delayed plans to launch a robotaxi service with Hyundai's Ioniq 5 robotaxis until 2026 and laid off hundreds of workers in the US. So they had their own plans. They decided to delay it. So now they're looking for somebody. Too bad it's not Tesla. But so Waymo previously purchased vehicles from Stellantis and Jaguar and integrated its technology into the base vehicles to offer autonomous ride-hailings, Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles. It's also testing its next-gen self-driving using vehicles from Zeekr. So you've explained why they might be deciding to move away from that. Alphabet, which owns Waymo, planned a $5 billion investment over a multi-year period as it expands its areas. Do you think these guys are a serious competitor to Tesla? And could they still partner with Tesla, Larry?
Yeah, I don't think you should. I mean, this deal is from a Waymo perspective, acquiring vehicles. That's all it's doing. And the engineering will be defined by Waymo and to Waymo's specification. This doesn't inhibit Hyundai from using, the self-driving technology from Tesla, not at all. I mean, it wouldn't be the last time that an OEM deals with multiple different customers for for as an outlet for the car. But in terms of adopting the Waymo technology, I don't think that's a possibility. It's going to add a huge cost to the car. I don't think Hyundai are going to go out and try and sell that fully equipped Waymo vehicle. And in any case, I think Waymo's technology is going to be proprietary to Waymo. So no, I think it's a one-way deal. Waymo are acquiring vehicles. That's it. As far as Hyundai acquiring the technology, I don't think that's going to happen at all. All they're going to be doing is fitting the sensors to Waymo specification to the vehicles for Waymo.
Okay, thanks for explaining that, Larry. Okay, a lot of people thought that that was a bigger deal than it really is. So we've got GM electric vehicles gain access to Tesla superchargers with $225 adapter. Looks like GM is now offering this adapter to its customers, but you have to pay $225. Now you can, though, access all of Tesla's charging standard connectors. So this is something that's new because other companies like Ford just gave it for free, but these guys are selling it. Tesla has a charging network of 17,800 superchargers, and then now GM EV owners can do this. Last year, GM CEO Mary Barra said that they reached a deal with Tesla. Right? They were one of the other of all everybody basically adopted to do this. Ford also is allowing consumers to reserve an AX adapter for free, and after that, or if customers want more than one, the cost is $230. These guys are charging you. What do you think about what they are doing here?
I think it's just an indication of GM's tenure around EVs. Why would they charge their customer for something that really they've been in deficit on for all these years? I mean, it's kind of crazy. And the question is, do they bundle it with a new car now? Is it an add-on that they'll have to buy? The dealer's going to have to give that away anyway. Why would they not just give them away? I mean, how much going to cost? They don't have that many cars out there, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not as if there are millions and millions and millions of them. There may be a couple of million. I mean, this is just Tania Mary and bleating on about her leadership in the EV space, telling us how many thousands of models they're going to have, and yet they're charging for an EV adapter because they failed to build a decent charging network or partner with anybody with a decent charging network at the outset. It's crazy. And it's just, the GM, this is a company that doesn't think about its customers, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's looking like they're trying to disincentivize people to buy electric vehicles, right? They're promoting gas cars, they're promoting hybrids. And so this is just another way. And the way that you can hear is the way they explained it. At the end of the day, what we felt is it was very important to ensure that our customers are treated equally. And not all customers would have that ability to go and download the app and be able to ascertain that adapter at a reasonable and fair price, right? So we're not going to give it to you for free. Okay. Next story here is NIO, electric vehicle maker NIO from China. They're in talks to buy Audi's factory in Belgium. So this is they're considering acquiring Audi's factory in Belgium as part of a strategy to establish local production in Europe and avoid the EU's tariffs that has happened. It looks like that NIO specifically was going to be charged 20% tariff on top of the 10% I think that was there already, additional duties. And this is actually in the middle ground, right? Because the way that the EU did it was based on how much the car company is subsidized by China's government. So if you're a Chinese government-owned car company, then they'll do 38%. NIO's kind of right in the middle. The company currently operates 2 manufacturing plants in China with a third under construction. So it looks like that a delegation from the NIO recently visited a factory preparing a bid. So Volkswagen, we've been hearing, right? They've been shutting down. I think there was two plants in Germany that they were planning. Now this is another one that they might let go, and people are
Well, there was breaking
buyers.
news this morning that they're going to be laying off 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And this is a political nightmare for Germany and for Volkswagen in particular. Now, the whole German auto industry is in dire trouble. I mean, Volkswagen is leading the way, or it's leading it is the worst of them all because it has the biggest crisis. But BMW is equally in crisis. I mean, what's happening in Germany is legend in terms of declining sales. You know, German manufacturers really are left being only manufacturing luxury cars that they're able to sell. And those cars are not selling well right now. And so they're resorting to all kinds of methods to try and stuff the channel or try and get sales up there, but it's not happening. So there's this plant in Brussels that is hardly producing any vehicles, and actually it's shut down. So they need to so Volkswagen needs to get rid of it. But in Germany, they're going to have to lay off 30,000 people. Do you know this is a political
Mhm.
nightmare?
Mhm.
And so whatever they can do to get rid of, and the Chinese are relishing the opportunity of picking up the pieces. This reminds me of Tesla picking up, the Fremont
Mhm.
factory for a song
Mhm.
after Toyota and GM just, you know, really blew it in a big way. And we had the global financial crisis. So this is an opportunity of a lifetime for the Chinese manufacturers. The question is, how politically palatable is this for Europe?
Thank you for that, Larry. Yeah, it's happening. I think we did a show one time that showed that 30% of the factories are actually less than 50% utilization.
Yep.
So many of them, this is just one that's going to go down. So in Europe, NIO's CEO and the founder said they actually have an assembly plant already there for battery swap stations. And once ready, those stations are shipped to NIO's 5 markets across the continent. So they're actually already got experience building in Europe. So this particular plant that they may consider buying, it has 2,900 employees, and unions expect 2 major rounds of layoffs over the next months. Uh, Decided to halt production due to low demand for the Q8 e-tron SUV. 1,500 jobs are expected to be cut next month, another 1,100 in May. Factory management confirmed that neither Audi no nor any other Volkswagen group would be assigning the assembly of a new model to that facility. So they basically going to abandon it. The NIO started the deliveries of their flagship SUV EL8, their flagship SUV. It's called the EL8 in Europe, initially launched in China in late 2022. And I think they're selling about 200,000 a year. That's basically that. So it's not a lot. Um, it's expensive, right? Look at this, like 108,000 euros or 87,000.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think they're carrying the wrong product at the wrong time. There was a time in Europe that there was a
yeah.
space for that kind of car. I don't think there's a space for that kind of car right now. I mean, EVs are struggling because of the termination of the last round of, you know, of incentives from Germany, from EU. EU is going to have to do something about incentives. Basically, EV sales are cratering right now in Europe, and pure EVs are really, feeling the brunt of that. Hybrids are well, and there's such a broad spectrum of hybrids, but hybrids are doing a little bit better. But by and large, European sales are not great, and Germany is hurting the most. So it's going to be close. It's going to be, if Europe allows Neo to buy that plant, that'll be like, the thin edge of the wedge.
So Neo, like you said, they're selling it. They're high brand, but they also have a second sub brand named Firefly. The brand targets a cheaper market segment than the sub brand Envo, focusing on smaller vehicles. They expanded to Norway in 2021, 4 other European markets in 2022. So even if they have the tariffs, they're still going to do it anyways. But yeah, this is just going to make it much easier for them to do this.
We'll
Okay.
see. I mean, a lot depends on this election and what happens post election in the United States, because if the United States puts very heavy tariffs on the Chinese vehicle manufacturers, I think Europe will follow suit. I think they'll have to follow suit. And then, there's going to be a trade war. I don't think a trade war is avoidable right now. It's my current thinking, but I could be wrong. I mean, these things are very difficult to predict. It's like the future; it's very difficult to predict.
Okay, so we know that electric vehicles is basically won the game. Okay, the ICE combustion cars are going to die, and then electric vehicles will take over. Now, there's been some slowdown, sure. Especially you're talking about Europe. There's been a major slowdown there because of the issues that they're facing. But in China and in US, we're seeing numbers going back up. And yet, there's only really one company, that's Tesla, that's making any profit out of this consistently.
In the
BYD
United States.
in the United
In
States.
Jap- yeah, in China there are very profitable companies. BYD did very well last quarter, although their payrolls climbed up to 900,000. I mean, and they're talking about going up to 1.1 million. It's kind of crazy. It may be politically driven, but it's kind of crazy. But nonetheless, yeah, they are making profits. At least BYD is making profits. The other Chinese companies are struggling.
Yeah, a lot are struggling. That's my point, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of electric vehicle makers. They pop out, and then many of them are struggling. And yet, we're seeing more and more that want to keep coming in the game. So, this is the fun part here. We're hearing that the television maker Sharp as following Sony. They're going from televisions to electric vehicles and the help of iPhone maker Foxconn. So Sharp is going to introduce it's a concept vehicle, an all electric people mover. Actually, it doesn't look terrible. It looks great. Look at that Sharp. Uh, yeah,
Well, Foxconn talked to Apple for a long time about manufacturing
right.
a car for them. So
Yeah.
they're not new to the game. I think they probably have a hand in the game, in China.
It'll be interesting. This is just a concept car, and they're so this is the conversation I wanted to have with you, right? Because these guys make televisions, so you go, it doesn't make sense. They're making electric vehicles, but we are now starting to see the potential for a mobile lounge. People will be able to, autonomous cars. So move the family room to the car. So they have this thing called an LDK plus people mover. That's a concept car. They showed it off in a technology exhibition, and it's a it's a Japanese term for a large apartment with a separate living, dining, and kitchen area, or LDK. Living, dining, kitchen area. See, cavernous rear with a couch, coffee table, new interior layouts. That's what I'm saying. Cabin as an immersive theater room or children's play area. So yeah, I think this is, you know what, they need to get in here. I need to get, if anything, they need to partner with companies to say, hey, let me outfit the inside for you because this is what we do, televisions and interiors.
I put 100 to 1 against that car ever emerging.
Yeah, yeah. uh, it looks like
And
Foxconn actually owns it though. Look at this. Foxconn, right? Biggest maker of Apple iPhones. They bought control of Sharp in 2016. So it's actually a Foxconn approach here, which makes it very much more likely they could actually win. Maybe.
I put 100 to 1 against it. The ability to build a car and sell a car are two different things, but you know, anything's possible. And there will be remarkable some remarkable companies will emerge. Why not Foxconn? I don't know. I think anything manufactured in China is going to have a hard time getting into Western markets. That's just my view. Could be wrong. So maybe this is a car that'll sell in Japan and China, but I think we're in for a very, very robust war.
I'm much more confident that the Chinese could win over Western markets because they are focused on technology and more tech.
I don't think it's technology. I think it's all about, right now, it's all about politics. I think
Yeah.
that the trade wars are going to be very, very, very serious. That's my honest view.
Hmm. So let's take a look at this. The last paragraph says the LDK Plus is based on an all-electric drivetrain of the Foxconn Model C 5-seat crossover. So they unveiled that in 2021. It's already on sale in Taiwan. So, again, it sounds crazy sharp, but actually it's owned by Foxconn. They already have a car. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the sales are because I haven't seen any numbers for those sales.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. We'll see. I love they call it Model C, Model B, Model V, Model N. That just
Imagine,
shows you
imagine.
copy as much as you
Yeah,
can. Okay. So this is fun. I mean, obviously it's happening. Yeah. So it's Sharp and Sony are getting into the electric vehicle game. I think it just shows you that this idea of Robotaxi was so far off. People didn't realize it's going to come, but all the movement by Waymo and Cruise, Baidu in China, and the others, and then of course Tesla, it's making people realize it's closer than we think, and so we better start in reimagining what a car is.
yeah.
That's what Tesla's been doing since 2018.
Well, we'll see on 1010.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll see
we've
on
been
10.
given an inkling of what's coming, so it'd be very interesting to see what emerges.
Thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate you. Follow Larry on his X account, Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.